Due to social distancing guidelines related to the COVID-19 state of emergency, this meeting will be held remotely, not at the Brockton Housing Authority's offices. The public is invited to view and/or listen to the meeting via phone, computer, laptop, or tablet. This is another warning from the city of Brockton and the state. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and state of emergency, on March 12, 2020, Governor Baker issued an executive order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. Pursuant to the order, public bodies are temporarily relieved from the open meeting law's requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. I would like to welcome all, as I said before, the regular meeting of the Brockton Housing Authority. We could all rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Thank you. Mr. Tebow, there's two roll calls we have to do, one for a quorum and then the regular roll call. Where this is being videotaped. If you could do a roll call, Mr. Tebow. This is for the quorum.
I apologize. I was on mute, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Roberts.
Here.
Commissioner Texera.
Here.
Commissioner Trask.
Here.
Commissioner Pettiford.
Here.
And Mr. Chairman.
Here. David Texer.
Yep, David's here.
Okay, item 1, Mr. Tebow, the roll call. We have a full quorum.
So would you like me to read the roll again?
Yes, this is a regular roll call, item 1 on the agenda.
Okay. Commissioner Roberts.
Here.
Commissioner Texera.
Here.
Commissioner Trask.
Here.
Pettiford.
Here.
And Mr. Chairman.
Here. And just an announcement prior that every vote that we take has to be a roll call today. Item 2, approval of the minutes of the special meeting of April 28, 2020. Item A in your packets. Mr. Tebow.
Mr. Chairman, I have reviewed the minutes. I have found them to be in order, and I would recommend that they be adopted as presented.
We need a motion on the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of April 28, 2020 as written.
Second it.
Who seconded that? Was that David?
Yes.
Yes, was David.
A motion been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner David Texera. Motion is to approve the minutes of the special meeting of April 28, 2020 as written. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Texera.
Here.
Commissioner Trask.
Here.
Commissioner Pettiford.
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion
Yeah.
carries unanimous.
Okay.
Item 3, hearing of visitors. Any member of the public is invited to speak before the board. Visitors wishing to be heard will be allowed 3 minutes to speak on each subject. The board will take any issues under advisement and respond at a later date. Total time for hearing of visitors will be limited to 15 minutes. Do we have any people from the public wishing to be heard?
Mr. Sullivan, I actually I wanted to speak. I have to get on another Zoom. If I could speak, I want to, first of all, give a status update, and I want to thank the commissioners and Mr. Tebow and Attorney Plouffe and everybody at the Housing Authority. As we know right now, the COVID-19 has had catastrophic death and injury to our city. 232 lost of life right now, 232 deaths. Current active cases, 1,653. The good news on that is we were up to 2,900 cases not too long ago, so people are recovering. But overall, total cases were just a little bit under 4,000. We're at 3,962 cases. So I do want to thank the leadership of Mr. Tebow, who reached out to me, and then Executive Director of the Housing Authority, of the Board of Health, John McGarry, to enact a local executive order in conjunction with the Board of Health. I think it's made a difference. And I want to thank Attorney Plouffe and Mr. Tebow for that suggestion. And I was happy to do it. And again, I just want to thank the partnership offered by the commissioners as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
If I can just add
Item
on
5.
for 1 second. I had a meeting this morning, Mr. Mayor, of all my asset managers. I asked them to let me know how the illnesses were going at all of our sites. They've updated me. They have flattened out, and it's a big curve. It's directly related to your order. It saved lives. So thank you very much for the cooperation with the city and the support of the board.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Item correspondence, Mr. Tebow.
You have your narrow newsletter. I just want to make one comment on that. There is a moratorium on evictions. Obviously, the Housing Authority does everything within its power not to evict people in regular times. We would not be doing that now. We are a little bit concerned, but we have not seen a great amount of people not pay their rent, thinking they don't have to pay rent. But we're staying on top of that because we don't want to see negative consequences in the future. But residents are working very well through this, and as well as can be expected given the population that we serve.
Sue Keating.
Yes,
Sue,
yes.
do we need a motion on the correspondence?
No, we do not.
Okay. Any questions on the correspondence?
Mm-mm.
Hearing none. Item 5, approval of the bills of the regular meeting of May 28, 2020, Exhibit B in your packets. Commissioner Texera.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. I had a chance to review the bill, and we had a few questions. I have a few questions, and it was all answered, and I will make a motion to approve the bill for the regular meeting for May 28, 2020, as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve the bills of the regular meeting of May 28, 2020, as written. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Texera,
Here.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous.
Okay.
Item 6, approval of extension to laundry services contract, Exhibit C in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
So back in September of 2015, we entered into an agreement with a new laundry company. We have been happy with the services of the laundry company. For the most part, they've been responding in a timely manner. Our income has gone up dramatically from our last company, which was one of the reasons we were leaving the last company. And we're recommending that this contract be extended. It can be terminated with notice at any time. So it gives us the opportunity to continue with the service. And if we become unhappy, if they stop servicing us the way we expect, we could always terminate.
One question, Mr. Tebow?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I see the authority gets 75.2% of the income. Is that going to remain the same for the 3 years?
Yes. Whenever you extend the contract, all terms must remain the same.
And the $1.25 per wash would be the same as well?
Well, that will remain the same. It does, so the housing authority could increase that amount. We would have to consult with the residents. The reason we might do that is if we were in dire straits and water was going way up in the wash. But again, that's something we talked to the residents about prior to moving it. The company cannot move it by themselves.
Tom, I was
have
just
one
wondering
question.
hang on one second, David. I was just wondering if we had any complaints from the residents about the machines over the past 3 years.
From time to time we do. It's usually on delay. There's 24 hours they have to respond to repair them. At times we've had them more than 24 hours to do it, but every time we've addressed it, they have responded appropriately. I don't know if Commissioner Roberts, who uses the machines, has what her experience has been.
I think the only delay, when it is delayed, is due to parts. So if the machine goes down and they don't have the part, we do have to wait for the parts to come in. But basically, when we do call and report something is wrong, they are there to repair it. So far, they've been pretty good.
Okay. Commissioner Texera, you had a question?
My question was answered. That was about the maintenance.
Okay. We need a motion, item 6. from
I make a
anybody.
make a motion to extend the lease agreement with Automatic Laundry Services of West Newton, Mass. to provide laundry machines to the Brockton Housing Authority properties for an additional 3 years. Roll call required.
Second.
Ernie, was that you that seconded it?
Yes, sir. Second.
Okay, a motion was made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettifat. Motion is to extend the lease agreement with Automatic Laundry Services of West Newton, Mass. to provide laundry machines to the Brockton Housing Authority properties for an additional 3 years. Roll call, Mr. Tebow.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettifat,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 7, adoption of HUD waivers related to COVID-19 pandemic, Exhibit D in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
I have to give credit to HUD. When this pandemic came out, they issued immediately a fairly complicated review of all the regulations that may need to be waived or at least loosened up a bit. We have gone through it. Mr. Plouffe and myself have gone through it, and we have adopted certain waivers. We will not use them unless we must use them. But I'll give you, for example, recertifications. They have to be done every 12 months. They have given us to the end of the year. Right now, we have a person who does recertification who's quarantining at home because a family member has the virus, so that's delaying the schedule for that. We also have obviously all sorts of things around inspections with the Section 8 program and public housing.
Mhm.
We are working with our residents. We have the hierarchy of verifications. If they lose their job, there would be certain things that we would have to do to get third-party verifications. Those have been relaxed. So it gives the Housing Authority a lot of latitude and leeway to work with our participants in the rental assistance program and public housing to address what we anticipate are issues and some of the things that we may not anticipate. So I do see Ms. Rice on the call. I did receive a letter from her today supporting these waivers, and we have adopted them as she has recommended. I didn't go through one by one. I just checked that everyone that you had is on our waiver list.
Great, that's great to hear. Hello, everyone. My name's Attorney Stephanie Heron Rice. I'm obviously dressed down and working from home. I work for the Justice Center, providing free legal services to low-income folks in Brockton and beyond. We also cover the South Shore, but I'm based in Brockton. We sent a letter to the Housing Authority advocating for the use of some of these waivers because we think some of them will be really helpful to keeping people home and providing support for families affected by the virus. As Mr. Thibodeau explained, for example, the Housing Authority has the ability to delay recertification because these obviously can't be completed in person right now. There are certain households that we believe require in-person recertifications. For example, people with disabilities or people that English isn't their first language and they need just a little more support in doing their yearly recertification. So for those households, we ask the Housing Authority push back their recertification until such time as they can sit down with someone and do it as they have traditionally in the past. There's also, interim certifications and a waiver of tenant policies, extensions of search terms, and other things that we're advocating for. I'm happy to share the letter with the board as a whole, but I'm glad that you got it and that you're looking into it. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We have got it, and I will actually forward that to the board members. The board members do have the entire notice in front of them, along with, and the helpful part is the last 14 pages where we go through and we check off everything that we're using. And they all became effective April 14th, 2020, which was the date of the notice.
Thank you.
We need a motion, item 7, from anybody.
I make a motion to approve the attached noted waivers allowed by HUD related to the COVID-19 pandemic effective April 14th, 2020.
Second.
And a second. A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve the attached noted waivers allowed by HUD related to the COVID-19 pandemic effective April 14, 2020. Roll call, Mr. Thibault.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 8, award of contract, asphalt paving replacement, Kennedy Drive, Rainbow Terrace, Indian Ward Congregated House. Exhibit E in your packets. Mr. Thibault.
So the Housing Authority got $80,400. Mr. DeChristopher did this, but he cannot be heard, so I'll present on his behalf. To take care of some health and safety issues that are in our state units. Now, $80,400 is a lot of money, but not when it really comes to all the different sites we have. The exterior, some of the exterior work was paving. We have potholes in a number of different places that the roads are falling apart. He had gone out and marked them and brought vendors around to see them. It was a public bid opening, and the low bid was Vizella and Sons of Brockton. We're recommending that the contract be awarded to them.
Any questions on item 8?
I had one question,
Mhm.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Texera.
Yes. Is this to redo the whole? Is this to redo the whole driveway, or just a spot like potholes?
It's you'll see it. I don't know if I can see Mr. DeChristopher now. It's
Yeah.
usually in like 10 by 12 squares, different areas. Vinny, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, it's for the trip and fall hazards throughout the state developments. And I went around to the worst ones at Kennedy Drive, Ian Ward House. The sidewalks will be replaced because there's a lot of tripping hazards up there, and also at Rainbow Terrace. And that's what mainly this money is being used for, is for trip and fall hazards.
Right, but they are not complete areas in any place. It's not, I would not say this is the right way to do it. It's the way that the state, it's the amount of money the state has to do it, and we have to go and pick the worst areas. So if you go down the road and there's a big area, say it's a 6-foot crumbling area, we would probably go, 12 by 12 around it, cut it out.
So it's like Band-Aids?
Thank you, yes.
Yeah.
It is. You'll see down at Campello last year or the year before, we did the entire parking lot, ground it down. It's, the whole section, and that will hold up a lot longer. But again, this is extra money. We have done it according to the guidance that came with the money, and we're excited to get it because it does do something.
Okay.
We need a motion, item 8.
Motion to award the contract of the amount of $42,030.22 to Reynolds and Son of Brockton, Mass. For ash paving replacement at Kennedy Drive, Project 667-2, Rainbow Terrace, Project 667-1A, and Enwood Congress House, Project 667-5. Roll call.
Second,
A motion's been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. The motion is to award the contract in the amount of $42,030.22 to Vozella and Sons of Brockton, Mass. For asphalt paving replacement at Kennedy Drive, Project 667-2, Rainbow Terrace, Project 667-1A, and Ann Ward Congregate House, Project 667-5. I just want to add that it is the low bid in the roll call. Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 9, appointment of maintenance mechanic aides, Exhibit F in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
This item first, it came up at the last meeting. It was tabled by the board because we didn't feel we could onboard these employees at that time. So the first motion would have to be to take the item off the table. Get a motion for that.
We need a motion to take this item off the table
I'll
from
make
the
a
last
motion.
meeting,
Off the table.
from anybody.
I will make a
A
motion.
motion's been made by Commissioner David. A motion's been made by Commissioner David Texera to remove from the table. We need a second.
Second.
A second's
Second.
been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford. Roll call, Mr. Tebow. This is to
Commissioner
take
Roberts,
the item off the table.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So now we have the item.
Now we're back on item 9, which is the appointment of maintenance mechanic aides, Exhibit F in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
Well, this is an exciting time for the authority, an exciting time for these two gentlemen who were supposed to come on a month ago. To them, I apologize, although it was not of our doing, but you did have your potential start date delayed by a month. We are in desperate need to have a lot of work done, and I know Mr. DeChristopher said he could certainly use the help in the state portfolio to get some work done there. So we're excited to bring some people on. We've been shorthanded for some time. I'd like Mr. Bluff to speak of it, of the process that they went through to select these two candidates.
Thank you, Mr. Tebow, members of the board. As our process has been with hiring in the maintenance department, we advertised in the enterprise and online, posted internally, received a number of resumes and cover letters, interviewed Mr. DeChristopher, myself, and Mr. Hines, interviewed, selected some for a second interview. Those that had the second interview were also given a written test based upon general maintenance knowledge that Mr. DeChristopher and Mr. Hines developed, plus a 3-skill hands-on test. Because often we find when you interview somebody, they say, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. And when it comes to the tests, well, not so much. So it's like me doing it at home. By the 4th time, I usually get it right. So these candidates both did very well in the written and the hands-on test. Mr. Michael Bomitri and Mr. Jesse Gobin, you have their resumes. They both have extensive experience in the trades in doing this type of work, and we recommend them wholeheartedly.
Just so you know, we have 2 separate motions. We have to do 2 separate votes. We need a motion on item 9A, which is for Michael Umiltry.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, both are on the call. Mr. Bomitri is up in the top corner, and Mr. Gobin has the American flag J.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. We need a motion on item 9A from somebody.
Motion to appoint Michael of Brockton, Mass. to the position of maintenance mechanic aide effective May 29, 2020 at the 2019 step 1 rate of $28.84 per hour.
You have to second it. Second.
A motion's been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to appoint Michael Bumitri of Brockton, Mass. to the position of maintenance mechanic aide effective May 29, 2020 at the 2019 step 1 rate of $28.84 per hour. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Need a motion on item B
Motion to
for
appoint,
Jesse Goben.
motion to appoint Jesse Goben of East Taunton, Mass. to the position of maintenance mechanic aide effective May 29, 2020 at the step 1 rate of $28.84 per hour.
Second,
And a second. A motion's been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to appoint Jesse Goben of East Taunton, Mass. to the position of maintenance mechanic aide effective May 29th, 2020 at the step 1 rate of $28.84 per hour. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
yes?
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Mr. Buteri, Bumitri? Can you turn your mic on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Normally, we're at the meeting and we can all shake hands and welcome you. But we can't do that, but I just wanted to say, welcome to the Housing Authority. And what we do here is we put our tenants first. And it's simple. Without them, we don't need you. So keep that in mind as you go through. That's for you too, Jesse. I'm not sure you can hear me.
I can. Thank you
He's
very
at the other end. But anyway, Michael, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Jesse can hear you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you very much for the words. I got that as well.
Jesse, did you hear that?
I did. Thank you.
Jesse, same to you. Welcome aboard. And we put our tenants first. We like to think of it as their number one. And without them, if we don't have them, we don't need you. We just keep that in mind during your years of service.
Absolutely. I like that. Thank
And
you.
normally we have you come up and we shake your hand. We can't do this with this pandemic.
Damn.
Maybe we will someday.
Yes,
We
I'm
can
looking.
congratulate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And he did, I want to take off
Congratulations.
what the chairman said, years of service. Most people who work with us do put in years of service. It's a good job. It's hard work and rewarding. We help a lot of people. So we help a lot of different people. And I know through my interviews with you that you're prepared to deal with the good, the bad, and the in-between.
Looking forward to it.
Mike,
Yes.
I just want, the start date is May 29th, which is tomorrow. Are you going to start tomorrow?
Yeah. Yes, I'll be there first thing in the morning.
Okay. All right, that
Excellent.
goes for you too, Jesse. All right,
Yes, I'll be there. 8:30 in the back.
Sounds
We'll
good.
go-
8:30 in the back. You got it.
Awesome. Thank you.
We'll be there for you.
welcome aboard to both of you.
Thank you so
Moving
much.
on to item 10,
Okay.
approval of the 2020 MRVP income limits, Exhibit G in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I see Mrs. Rose on the call, if I could ask her to speak on the item.
Good afternoon, everyone. What you have before you are the MRVP income limits for 2020. And we're just asking the board to review and adopt those so that we can use those to determine eligibility and also for those that are already in the program for continued occupancy.
We need a motion, item 10.
Motion to approve the 2020 NRVP income limit as presented.
And a
Second,
second? A motion's been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion
No.
is to approve 2020 MRVP income limits as presented. Any questions on the motion?
Tim,
Hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, the second was made by Commissioner Trask.
right.
Janet, you made the second on that?
yes.
Okay, sorry. I'll repeat it again. The motion was made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to approve 2020 MRVP income limits as presented. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 11, approval of tenant accounts receivable write-offs, Exhibit H in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask Mr. Pacious to speak on this, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tebow and Board of Commissioners. What you have in front of you is the tenants' accounts that have vacated the properties, and every year we do this. We present to the board these vacated balances that are at this point not collectible, but we could in the future collect them. There have been incidences where we have written off accounts and they have a few years later the tenants have come back for whatever reason, and they've had to pay the balance that they owe us in order to get a mortgage or some other type of housing. So that's pretty much what we have here in front of us: the federal, the state, and affordable housing. The reason why we're doing this this early in the year, generally we do it in October, is we want to start with a clean slate due to the pandemic and so forth. So that way, in the future, the coming months, we'll be able to get a good idea as to how much our tenants' accounts receivable have. The tenants' accounts receivable and vacates or unpaid balances have grown over the course of this pandemic. So,
Is that ever much of an issue, Michael?
vacated balances, or, well, I mean, right now we're under 1% of our total, what we bill out to the tenants and what we're writing off on all the sites is less than 1%. But, Wanda and her staff are constantly working and trying to set up repayment agreements with tenants. But it is, at times, it can be like shoveling seaweed against the tide. So
If I could add to that, I put them into two general categories. There's lots of smaller balances where the person has usually passed away and the family is not going to pay that. Obviously, that's an uncollectible. It would not be worthwhile to chase the estate. And then there are other people, and if someone doesn't pay their rent, we have to then start an agreement with them. And then we have to see that whether they're keeping that agreement, and that balance will build up. And at times, a person will be asked to do several agreements by the courts, and you'll see the balance building, and then they walk away. And so it's a real minority, a small group of people with large balances. But for the most part, our residents are very good at paying.
Good.
I have one question, Mr. Pacious.
yes.
The question is simple. Will you try to collect those balances?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Even the ones you've written off in previous years, we try to collect, either it be through a collection agency of some types. So,
the rest of it does interest accrued on these balances
No,
as well?
no,
or
not at all.
Interest free?
Right.
And there are no fees?
No.
We need a motion, item 11.
I make a motion to approve the federal public housing program write-offs for 2019 in the amount of $54,421.87. The state public housing program write-offs for 2019 in the amount of $1,933.60. And the affordable housing program write-offs for 2019 in the amount of $2,323.59.
Second.
Give it to Dave.
A motion's been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford. Motion is to approve federal public housing program write-offs for 2019 in the amount of $54,421.87. The state public housing program write-offs for 2019 in the amount of $1,933.60. And the affordable housing program write-offs for 2019 in the amount of $2,323.59. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 12, review of financial comparatives, Exhibit I in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
I'll quickly speak to this. This is usually an important milestone in the year. It's the first quarter, and we're doing well on all of the accounts. You'll see surpluses of 300,000, 70,000, 135,000, but lots of change in the second quarter. So, we're going to see expenses go up. We're going to see our income from rents go down as people lose jobs. I spoke to Ms. Dower, who oversees Crescent Court. She said a lot of people working in the service industry, hotels, restaurants have come in and their income has gone down. We are not using, so those people get that $600 a week in unemployment. We do not use that to calculate rent. So we're through the very first quarter. We're doing very well. I expect these numbers to change in the second quarter. There was the Tony DeVega house. We're in a little bit of a deficit because we did some flooring work up there. I met with the Department of Mental Health up there a couple months ago, and we agreed to raise their rent so that we'll hopefully come out this year at a surplus there too. They were very good to work with. I understand the need for it. But we're through the first quarter, we're doing very well. Mr. Patius, would you like to add anything?
I think you covered it.
We need a motion, item 12.
Motion to accept the financial comparatives for the period ending March 31st, 2020, and put on file.
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner David Texera. Motion is to accept the financial comparatives for the period ending March 31st, 2020, and put on file. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 13, award of contract, independent audit services, Exhibit J in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
If I could ask Mr. Pacious to speak on this, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tebow and commissioners. Every year, we have our annual audit, and this particular contract that you see in front of you is the same contract that we put before the board last year for our auditing firm, Rector, Reader, and Lofton. As you may know, that they come out, they audit our books once a year, and then what happens is that audit, those audited financial statements will go to the different organizations or funding organizations such as HUD and DHCD and our bankers and so forth. So the cost on the audit hasn't changed for the past 3 years. Basically, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
We've had them for a number of years, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Just one question, Mike,
Sure.
on the increase of $3,600. Is that because of the state's new funding rules and regulations?
Yes, that's state mandated. That's the agreed upon procedures, and that came out of the new regulations or laws that they had put forth about 6 or 7 years ago. In that an auditing firm has to come out and go through this list, for lack of a better term, of items that they have to review. Some things are, for example, like petty cash, credit card statements. So that list, again, that is mandated by the state. Every housing authority has to do that type of audit, or what they call agreed upon procedures review.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I could just add.
We need a motion, item 13.
To exercise the year-to-year extension outlined in the 1/12/2015 RFP and extend the auditing firm of Richter and Reed contract with the Brockton Housing Authority to include the FY 2019 audit of Brockton Housing Authority financial statement for the amount of $44,700.
Second it.
In a second. Dave, did you second that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. A motion has been made by Commissioner Ernest Pettiford, seconded by Commissioner David Texera. Motion is to exercise the year-to-year extension outlined in the January 12th, 2015 Request for Proposals, RFP, and extend the Brockton Housing Authority's contract with Rector and Reader to include the 2019 audit of the Brockton Housing Authority's financial statements for the amount of $44,700. Any questions on the motion? Tom, I didn't mean to cut you off. You had something?
I just wanted to let the board know this is one of the most important things you do. The number one is to hire an executive director to carry out your policies. Number two is to have a good auditor who comes in and makes sure that I'm doing, and all the other staff on this is doing the job correctly. This firm is a nationally known firm. If there's problems, they will let us know, and they've let us know in the past. They've given us heads up about things coming down. So it's a very important contract from a board's perspective. It protects you, and it's one of the number one things that you do as a fiduciary of the Housing Authority.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 14, Executive Director's Report. Exhibit K in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
On my report, I've given you an operations update. We are doing as much as we can, and we are planning on doing more. We are talking every day about when we will open up our doors to the public, which may be some time. Remember, we have a very susceptible group of people that we serve. We want to make sure that they're safe, but we are making plans. This week, we received some translucent panels that we're using in our office that will allow more office people to come through. They're basically see-through walls on wheels. And we right now are using them outside Cheryl and Michael's office with Katrina Lamb and Helen Tatry. It's a unique look, I have to tell you. But we continue to do that. We continue to work under the mayor's orders. I've spoken to Commissioner Roberts about this as a representative of our residents. It's important. The feedback so far has been very, very good. So overall, the Housing Authority is operating. Some things are slower than they should be. I told you we have 50 vouchers out on the street. We need to be able to brief these people, and briefing is sort of like a class that you're telling the residents here, or the participants, here you go, here's a voucher, and here's how to use it, and it's a fairly complicated process. And that's always done in a group, and then a lot of one-on-one sessions. And so we're really working our way through that. I know I have regular phone calls with other housing authorities about how to get that done also. Mr. Pluff and his staff are working on it along with Mrs. Rose. We continue to lease up units. We are limiting that in the high-rise buildings and at Crosby Gardens until we can figure out a safe way to get move-ins and move-outs through the common areas without major contamination of the areas, but it's important that we get that done. We can't go on too much longer. We did have a couple of retirements. I'll tell you, long-term employees who left without any hoopla whatsoever, sort of walk out the door, see you later. No, not even coffee and cake. But Frank Hines and Margaret Pauline have retired. And we're moving on to that. We continue to work on the repositioning of the Housing Authority. That's a term that you'll hear over and over. What we're looking to do is work with HUD and find an alternative way to finance our housing that brings in more income. It makes us a different type of entity. It means that we would, for example, own Caffrey Towers. We would have Section 8 assigned to those, and we would be able to go to banks to refinance and make improvements there. It's a long process. We have contracted with the Cambridge Housing Authority, and we're working through that. Our next step is to do a physical needs analysis, but we can't do that because the engineers and architects need to get into the building and walk through the building freely and get into apartments also. So obviously that's restricted right now. We have some plans to redo the maintenance office, which is we were already going to be doing, but we'll have a reception area there, which will make it easier for the people to come in from the public and meet safely with our maintenance staff on whatever the issues are there, getting keys, asking for work orders, etc.
Another meeting with the mayor, it was mentioned that there are going to be layoffs in the city. It's inevitable because of the financial burden of the virus on so many entities. I mean, do you foresee any issues with the Housing Authority?
I see the state budget. I have a phone call with the Director of Public Housing on Monday regarding our state budget. The state budget, which is 14% of our budget, maybe even less money than that, Mr. Patience would know, is going to be severely cut back. What the federal government does, I don't know. We're fine. We have planned for a rainy day, and we could go for some time if they cut back, but it depends on how quickly we can get people back to work. And you know, that's why the state is seeing such dramatic cuts. And I know the school department was looking forward to the new funding to even out the education throughout the state, and that's in jeopardy now. We don't have any specific numbers. I would not anticipate laying off anybody right now. I certainly would not have recommended hiring the two gentlemen we just did if I thought that may happen.
We need a motion, item 14.
Motion to accept the executive director's report for May 28, 2020 and put on file.
Second,
A motion's been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to accept the executive director's report for May 28, 2020 and put on file. Any questions on the executive director's report? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
yes.
Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Item 15, old business. Any old business? Hearing none. Item 16, new business. I had one item, Mr. Tebow, we talked about it earlier, the grooming of pets. Somebody wanted somebody to come to the house to groom their pet, and this particular one was a cat. And you asked me to bring it up at this public hearing, which I'm doing now. I wasn't sure if you had found anybody that's mobile that can come there and they can bring their animals outside or pets outside, or if there's a date when they can come.
Yes, I'd like to speak to that in a more of a broad sense. So Commissioner got a call regarding could he have a pet groomer come in to take care of his cat. That's important. You have an animal that needs to be cared for. We do not want new people coming into the sites. We are very concerned about the effect that this is having on our residents. For almost coming on 3 months, a number of them, I would say, and I use the word purposely, are trapped in their apartments. They're very susceptible to this virus. If they get it, they're very susceptible to getting very, very sick. So I have met several times with our service coordinators, and I am going to continue to do that. I actually spoke to Mr. Welsh on Monday. I think it was Monday, must have been Friday, to call the Taunton Housing Authority, see what they're doing there. There's a phone call coming up next week on what we can do for our residents. How do we take care of these type of things without putting them in jeopardy? So the short answer is, this is a fairly easy one. There are many people who will come and do it in a mobile situation. In other words, drive up in a van, pet comes out to the van, it gets groomed, and I didn't. My wife just had it done for our dog. They did it out in our driveway. So we can do that. And we're looking for creative things, but we're also looking for engaging our residents. And Commissioner Roberts knows she participates in her and many, many others participate in all these different things. Well, Commissioner Trask, well, all of you are very, we go out, we meet with people on a regular basis, and that's not happening. And especially for the seniors, the social engagement is so important. So we're looking for ways to do social engagement without jeopardizing their health. We're also anticipating higher rates of depression, higher rates of alcoholism, and trying to figure out ways to anticipate that, to make sure that stays as low as possible, and to have the services available. So it's a very difficult thing, because sometimes, and I know you know it, what a lot of people need is a hug, right? That's all they need. That's not going to happen. So I think of some of the residents here who have hugged outside the back door when they're having a tough day. And they're having more and more of those. So we're working to get those things done. And anybody, I know you're in the community, I said this to Commissioner Texera yesterday, I feel disassociated. I don't feel like this is the same thing as when we get together. and the meeting after meeting after meetings that we go to, and we hear, you know, when you're getting a cup of coffee, someone tells you what's happening, the different programs and things that are people doing. So if you hear about things that you think would be creative, you know, pen pals, I don't know, like whatever we did, you know, to make sure that we're still in communication with people, please let us know. But that's the long answer to, we can work with that, but we're concerned with that and much, much more.
Well, my cat has sat patiently right beside me for this whole meeting, and he enjoyed it.
So your cat is saying she allows you to sit there behind me.
All right, Janet.
Tom, I have one more item was the annual meeting. I probably should have brought it up on old business, but is the annual meeting going to be virtual or postponed? Or?
Right, it's
The
postponed.
main thing I was worried about was Mayor Carpenter's, he was going to be honored at that meeting.
Correct. It's postponed right now, and we are just looking for information on when it would be safe to get together. Again, we could do this virtually. I would prefer not to. Again, it's a come together and a celebration. You've been dealing with that as a school committee person with the virtual graduations, and you see how the parents are pushing back on that and how important it is to everybody. So I have a son who just graduated. We're trying to figure a way to get in person our entire family together to celebrate that too. So I will take advice and the direction from the board, but right now it's postponed, and I'm looking forward to doing it at some time live with people being celebrated there.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other new business? Hearing none. Item 17, adjournment. We need a motion. Susan. I added 16, 17, 15, 16, 17. 17 being the adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
A motion's been made and properly seconded. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Susan, you're on mute.
Be
You
safe.
need a roll call on the adjournment.
Ooh.
Nope, roll call. So Commissioner
Okay.
Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yeah.
Commissioner
Yes.
Trask, Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
yes, Commissioner Pettiford,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Yep.
Congratulations to Jesse and Mike. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. Ugh.